There's something strange about a tree. You don't see the roots, but they're carrying the whole tree. The bark that you see, the trunk that you see, the fruits that you see, the branches, they are all carried by the roots. We admire the fruits, the branches. We count the leaves. We sit in its shade, but most of the tree is hidden. Underneath the ground is an entire world of roots. Nobody applauds the roots. Nobody takes photographs of them. Nobody drives past a beautiful tree and says, "Look at those magnificent roots." Nobody takes a selfie with the roots. Yet if you remove the roots, the tree doesn't survive for long. And that is one of the greatest lessons about success. The part of your life people admire is usually supported by a part of your life they never get to see. Like the fruit in a tree, everybody wants it. We love the fruit. Success, money, recognition, promotion, a beautiful relationship, a healthy body, a successful business, influence. People see the fruit and say, "I want that." But the fruit is only the final evidence of a much longer process. Nobody walks past an apple tree and says, "That apple tree is so lucky. Apples just keep appearing." The farmer knows better. The farmer knows about the soil, the watering, the pruning, the season, the roots, the waiting, the work that happens long before the fruit appears. Your life works the same way. The root system, guess what? Nobody gets to see it. Imagine two trees standing next to each other. One has enormous branches, the other is still small. You might assume the first tree is stronger, but you can't really tell. You can't see underground beneath the surface. One tree may have roots spreading deep and wide. The other may have shallow roots. Then the storm arrives. The wind doesn't care which tree looked impressive yesterday. It tests the roots and suddenly discovers something important. It reveals it. Life does that too. Like with the storm doesn't create the weakness, it just reveals it. Pressure reveals foundations. Success reveals character. Money reveals discipline. Authority reveals leadership. Conflict reveals relationships. Temptation reveals values. Pressure doesn't determine the strength of your roots, it reveals them. The tree doesn't grow overnight. Nobody plants a seed on Monday and expects a massive tree on Tuesday. Yet we often expect that from ourselves. We start a business and want immediate profits, start exercising and want immediate results, read one book and expect to become an expert, save for 3 months and wonder why we're not financially free, pray for a week and wonder why everything hasn't changed. We're impatient with process that nature has understood for millions of years. The tree doesn't panic because nobody sees its roots. It keeps growing quietly, slowly, consistently. There will be seasons in your life when it feels like nothing is happening. You're working, learning, saving, praying, training, building, but there is little visible evidence. This is what I call the underground season. And many people quit during this season. They say, "This isn't working." But what if it is? What if the roots are growing? What if you're developing capacity before receiving responsibility? What if you are becoming stronger before becoming more visible? What if the invisible work is preparing you for the visible opportunity? Never confuse invisible progress with no progress. A tree is built for storms. A tree doesn't grow roots because it expects bad weather tomorrow. It grows roots because storms are part of its life. You don't build character because you expect a crisis. You build character because a crisis will eventually come. You don't save money because you expect everything to go wrong. You save because you know life has seasons. You don't build relationships only when you need help. You build them before you need them. You don't develop your team when the crisis arrives. You develop them before the crisis arrives. Preparation is root building. There's another lesson trees teach us. Trees need pruning. Dead branches must be removed. Diseased branches must be cut away. Sometimes healthy growth requires something to be removed. We struggle with this in our own lives. We want growth without pruning. We want success without sacrifice. We want better life without giving up the habits that are producing the current one. But sometimes the question isn't, what should I add? It's what needs to go. Perhaps you need to prune a toxic relationship, unnecessary spending, constant complaining, procrastination, bad eating, excessive screen time, an old belief that keeps limiting you, a commitment that no longer serves your purpose. Growth sometimes begins with removal. Fruit has seeds. There's something else remarkable about a tree. Its success isn't only that it produces fruit. The fruit contains seeds. Those seeds can create more trees. In other words, mature success becomes capable of reproducing itself. That is called leadership. A great leader doesn't just achieve. A great leader develops people who can achieve. A great parent doesn't just provide. A great parent raises children who can build. A great teacher doesn't just know. A great teacher creates people who know. A successful business doesn't just make money. It creates systems, people, and opportunities that can continue producing value. The highest form of success is success that reproduces itself. The question then is, what are you growing? Here is a difficult question. If someone could see your life 5 years from now based on only the seeds you are planting today, what would they predict? If you're planting discipline, they should predict strength. If you're planting learning, they should predict wisdom. If you're planting saving, they should predict financial stability. If you're planting kindness, they should predict strong relationships. If you're planting integrity, they should predict trust. If you're planting laziness, excuses, and distraction, well, those seeds also grow. The invisible economy doesn't care whether the seed is convenient. It grows what you consistently plant. Take a few minutes this week and examine 5 areas of your life: your health, your money, your relationships, your leadership, your faith. Ask yourself, what seeds are you planting? If you keep doing exactly what you're doing, what kind of tree will you have in 5 years? That's a powerful question, because your future isn't a mystery. Your repeated actions are giving you clues what the future will look like. Some people like to curse the tree. Sometimes we look at someone else's life and think, I wish I had their results. But don't curse the tree because you weren't there when the seed was planted. You don't know how many years they worked. You don't know how many failures they survived. You don't know how many sacrifices they made. You don't know how many invisible deposits built what you can now see. Instead of asking, why don't I have their fruit? Ask, what seed can I plant today? That's a much more productive question. Your future is a tree. Think about your future as a tree. Today you may only have a seed. That's okay. A seed doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look like a forest. It doesn't look like shade. It doesn't look like fruit. But inside that tiny seed is potential. Your job is not to become the tree tomorrow. Your job is to plant, water, protect, prune, wait, repeat. The invisible economy will take care of the compounding. I've got a final thought. One day, someone may sit in the shade of a tree that you have planted. They may never know who planted it. They may never know how many years it took. They may simply enjoy the shade. That's a beautiful picture of legacy. Some of the best things you do in life won't benefit you immediately. You may teach someone who eventually teaches thousands. You may raise a child who changes a family. You may build a business that creates jobs long after you are gone. You may make a decision today that changes the direction of generations. That's why you keep planting, even when nobody applauds, even when nothing is visible, even when you are tired, because the fruit is visible, but the roots built it. Don't envy the tree until you understand the roots. A strong future requires a strong foundation. What you repeatedly plant eventually becomes what you repeatedly produce. The deepest work is often the work nobody can see. And perhaps the most important question is this: what am I planting today that I want someone to enjoy tomorrow? My advice: plant wisely, build your roots, and give your future time to grow. See you in the next video.